His guest is Mithcell Graham. He is the franchise owner of Jdog Junk Removal in Canton, Ohio. We talk about his time in the military, how he got into the junk removal business, and advice he has for new and inspiring entrepreneurs. Please stick around to hear this interview. And if you support your local legends, like, share, subscribe. So, what is Jdog Junk Removal? Because the name sounds too simple. You guys must do more than just remove junk, right?
So, Jdog Junk Removal, it is a nationwide franchise that removes junk from people's houses. Their overall goal, so it's a military-based company. Their overall goal is to lower veteran unemployment to less than 1%. Currently, on average, it's about 4.4% right now. We just hit year 12. I believe we're coming up close to year 13. Company started out in Philadelphia. And the way we got Jdog as a name was the owner, Jerry. He was a wire dog in the Marines, so they called him Jdog. So when he started up, he's like, let's just go with that. I'm still called Jdog. He put the Marine Corps Bulldog on the side, and he started removing junk from people's houses.
That's awesome. And now, are you a veteran?
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
I was in the Ohio National Guard for 6 years. I was a medic. Did a lot of fun trainings and things. Um, yeah, that's
Nice.
it.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And how did you get into junk removal? Like, how did you get into this
So,
business?
well, before I was doing junk removal, I worked for a company that Best Buy owned called Magnolia. I used to design home theaters, commercial networking equipment, smart systems, things like that on a commission basis. And one day I came into work and they're like, hey, we are changing the way that you guys are paid, the processing, the systems of it again. And I was not too happy about that. So my sergeant from the guard, he actually owns the Summit County J-Dog. I know he was looking for an extra body, someone to help him do marketing, run the truck team. So I was like, hey, I'm coming. And about a year in, he was like, why don't you just do this? Because something I want to say was like 15% of his business was Stark County. So he goes, that's an open area. Your family's down there. Um, Give it a shot. So I drove out to Philadelphia, met the owners, was interviewed by them and everything, and now I remove junk.
Could you go into a little more depth as to
Yeah.
that process of becoming a franchise owner?
Yeah. So kind of what happens is you fill out an application on their website, and from there you get called by this guy named Terry. He's a hoot, and he just kind of asks you some questions, kind of explains what JDog is, and then you set up a time to go out there and meet them. And it's a 2 day where they talk to you about what JDog does, why it's more than just a junk removal company. You meet all these different people that run the corporate office, take you out to a really nice dinner, of course, and from there, they give you some, like, you have to, before, well, how do I put this? Um, After those 2 days, you're given a list of tasks that you must complete or figure out or be in the process of, like things like vehicles, things like your business loan, insurance. Before then, they have you come out for a week long. They call it JDog Boot Camp, where essentially they do a run through of how to be an owner of the business and everything. They have one day that's completely hands on, where you go with a local franchise out there and do jobs with them. But it's really just sitting around, not sitting around, but learning how to run a JDog franchise. So the training was great. It's a ton of fun. I was really happy that they just don't just, oh yeah, here, give us your money to be a part of the franchise and good luck.
It sounds like they really care about their business and they want to get good people in there, and that's why they have this process in place. Now, as a franchise owner now, like, do you have anybody, like, any oversight over you? Like, how does that work? Because I'm sure most people are unaware of what it's like to actually be a franchise owner. under like a bigger company.
So the nice thing about them is like obviously you have your franchise dues like in order to use the name, all their marketing, the website that they provide, but with them it's a flat rate. It's not a percentage basis like a lot of all the other junk removal franchises out there like Junk Luggers, 1-800 Got Junk. Those are all nationwide franchises as well. And they're like a set percentage. Your books are linked to their system. They know every little thing that you're doing. They're just like, hey, like this is our set rate. It goes up every 6 months until 2 years, and that just stays that for as long as you are a part of their franchise. Um, but what they say is you're in business for yourself, but you're not by yourself.
Mm.
So there are multiple people that are at that corporate office doing 800 different things, but if I call one of them, they're picking up the phone. They are answering questions or they're going, "Give me a second, let me get those answers for you." So I do really enjoy with how they stand behind us.
Yeah, that's incredible that you have the support, and they basically give you the autonomy. It sounds, I've looked into becoming a franchise owner in some other industries, and they are more controlling, as kind of what you were alluding to with these other junk removal companies.
Yeah, so they want you to a lot of J-Dogs have their different niches in their area. So I like to jokingly say Stark County J-Dog is J-Dog junk removal and deconstruction. Because I do a lot of gut work, exterior demolition, interior tear outs, things like that. But another franchise doesn't.
Mm.
Some special, so you can get into carpet cleaning, interior cleaning after junk outs, and things like that. But as long as you're doing it the correct way, you don't have like they do monitor your social media, they do monitor your reviews and things like that to make sure you're doing it by the essentially J-Dog's values, respect, integrity, and trust. Jerry likes to say, if I found out you're not living by those values, I will drive out there and put you out of business myself. But we all know he's kidding.
Yeah, I mean, that's like one of the most important things I believe in business is.
Your audio went out on me. I can hear it very faintly.
Can you hear me now?
There it is. You're back.
Okay. So I think that that's one of the most important things in business is having a set print, like having principles, having a modeled structure on how you're going to do business, and not focusing so much on new methods of acquiring clients and getting just anybody
100%.
into. Yeah, right.
Like I think a huge thing is like in our business, like if you type in junk removal Stark County, there are 37 businesses that service your area. So how do you put yourself out there as being the guy that people want to go to or the guy that people recommend in that field? A big thing has been just I think I have incredible employees and I'm not on every job. I have marketing, I have meeting that I do, but my guys just provide a great service that people are comfortable letting them in their house because that's a huge thing. We show up, we're clean, we're friendly, we're not dropping the F bomb left or right. We're being respectful of their place. That is their home. They have welcomed us in there to do work. We do a lot of, we're starting to do a lot more in the local community. We are just actually doing our first local fundraiser for a nonprofit in the area. Um, I mean, I would say 80% of my business is just word of mouth. Like, hey, you did a job for my friend, or you did a job for my family, or my realtor recommended you, things like that. And I mean, that just feels really good when it starts taking off from all of that and everything.
And I think that this is an overlooked aspect of marketing for business owners is the power of word of mouth. I think it is the most powerful tool to get new customers. Personally, I own a commercial cleaning company, and some of our biggest accounts have come from word of mouth. And then the other accounts that we've acquired through cold calling or door knocking, something like that, they they're not as big. I mean, we're grateful for all the work that we get, and people wanting to work with us and having us come out. But the people that actually are saying, hey, Ace One Cleaning, that's a really good company, you should give them a call, we typically are able to build a relationship with that client much faster. And and it just seems like everything is so much better on the word of mouth side of things, as opposed to trying to generate just cold leads to make them warm leads and trying to really win them over. I'm not sure if you do that much in your business, because it seems like
Both are
people just need you.
Both ends are great. I did just find out, so I'm not very good with the Google My Business SEO stuff and everything. So I just started with my third company running it for me because I've just have not been getting the results I wanted for those just passive leads and passive jobs that come through. And come to find out that the reason why 90% of my business has been word of mouth is because I had a company put in 10,000 negative keywords for my Google My Business that were over half of those were jobs that I would have done. So if you typed in furniture removal to Google, I was not popping up. So it was 90% of my business I looked at was someone recommending me. And obviously, I would have loved to have more business. Like we just hit month 15, we're still very new. It's been a stressful last couple months with like the winter slowdown and things like that. But it's picking back up, and obviously, all work is good work.
Yes, I totally agree. Now, have you had experience running a business before? Like, have you been entrepreneurial?
So my with the previous job that I had, it was up to me. Like leads weren't generated by Best Buy or that other company. It was me creating a relationship to allow me to enter the home. So I've been in like I probably had a running portfolio of business that was probably 80 to $150,000 at a time, depending on the size of the jobs. And that was all up to me. I only got paid if I closed the jobs and the job stayed happy. But no, this is my completely first experience being an entrepreneur on my own with my money and all that fun stuff.
What would you say is the biggest, maybe, skills you've learned being a business owner?
Um, the big thing has been speaking. I have never been the greatest public speaker. Like I remember in high school and college, those public speaking classes were the bane of my existence. Going up in front of a group of like 12 to 15 people to give a 5-minute speech was one of the things I just dreaded doing. And now it's like I do local groups like BNI, the Chamber of Commerce, and every time I'm there, like I have set time where it's just me talking to a much larger group of people, people that aren't my peers necessarily, like classmates, classmates. They aren't my classmates, people I'm around all day. They are peers in the business side of it and everything. And I'm tend to be much younger than the room, much more inexperienced than the room. So it's just building, like growing that confidence that people aren't looking at you as, oh, you're the young kid, you're not worth my time. It's, proving yourself that you can do it, proving yourself that you're respectful, prove yourself that you do a good job, um, has really helped build my confidence in being able to talk to a room like that.
Did you do anything like go to classes for speeches, for speaking in public, or reading books or YouTube videos?
Really, nothing like that. Just getting comfortable with doing it. I feel like the more I do it in person, no matter how much I read something, I've always been a very hands-on learner, trial and error, what's working, what's not working in person. So it's took me a couple months of doing that for I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I started changing my pitch, changing my spiels, and just building from there.
Nice. So just trial and error, pretty much.
Exactly.
Yeah, and in some ways, that's the best. That's the best way to learn. I know, I'm a big reader, but what I find is the most useful is just getting out there and doing it, as opposed to trying to overthink it or see what other people are doing and just being super analytical. The best thing to do is just to really get your feet wet.
100%. That's the easiest thing.
And
Not the easiest thing, best way for me to learn.
yes, yes, and you're doing that with business as well. So you just kind of dove in there, and we're like, I'm going to do this.
Yep, 100%. I was like, I need to do something different than electronic sales.
There you go. Now, I was reading on Jdog's website, circling back around to when you said you were working with nonprofits and the junk that you guys remove. Um, you guys are recycling a lot of that junk, correct? And like
Correct.
repurposing it.
So our main goal is to throw as little stuff away as possible. I don't like to go to the dump every day. In the junk removal world, I like to call it turning and burning, where let's say I finish a job, I fill up my trailer, go to the dump, get empty, go to the next one. Kind of how we do it is we recycle things like paper and metal. Those are the easiest things for us to just load up a large amount, go to the scrapyard or go to a local dumpster for a church or a school for the paper. But for household items, like, that you just got new pots and pans, you're throwing away your old ones, you just got a new coffee maker, you're swapping out your living room furniture. What we do with that stuff is there's a local nonprofit called the Marlon Minnie Snyder Foundation. And what these guys do is incredible. They furnish apartments and houses for families that are in need. So, like, some examples of what they do is kids getting out of foster care that are provided an apartment for 6 months. They don't have anything that they take with them when they get out of the foster care system except for their clothes. They come through and they furnish it. They give them a bed, they give them a couch, they give them stuff for their kitchen. They give them decorations to make it like their home, and this is at no cost to them. They help women leaving the domestic abuse shelter with their kids. They help a veteran getting out of rehab who's just trying to get back on his feet again. And they've been open, I want to say they're a little over 2 years. And in those 2 years, they have done 240 some homes. So when we run into these items, we go to them. We take them to them, we unload them, we put them in their storage areas, and just how much these guys, the guys' names are David and Lon. They used to be executive chefs. They sold off their businesses to start this, and that is their sole goal in life, is to just help alleviate empty homes for families in need.
That's incredible. And so anybody who's thinking about going with you guys from removing junk is indirectly helping people in need, essentially.
So I always like to say you're supporting a local veteran business by hiring us, and then indirectly, because of the work that we do with them, you're supporting other families in your local community.
Yeah, that's a beautiful cycle you guys got going on there, repurposing it. Now, is there a job that sticks out to you? Like, do you have a memorable job because of some circumstance or something you found that was memorable that
Um,
somebody was throwing away?
I've definitely, when I'm thinking about memorable jobs, it's some of just the absolutely disgusting things that we've been
Mm.
thrown into sometimes. Um, let's see. We just did, I mean, a good example is we just took care of a World War II vet that had to leave his condo to go into an assisted living facility. And his big thing was like, I got nice stuff. You're not throwing away my stuff. So we did not throw away his stuff. His entire condo got split up into two homes for families that just are starting to get back on their feet again and everything. And once we told, it was his daughter who hired us. When we told her that, she goes, "He's going to be very happy that that is the outcome of what happened to the stuff in his condo." So just situations like that. Everyone thinks of junk removal companies as just a glorified trash service,
Hmm.
but we are doing everything we can not to be a trash company.
Yeah, no, that is awesome. So, what is your say 5-year vision for Jdog and your franchise specifically, where you're taking it?
So 5 years for this franchise is, I want to have at least two teams moving by then. I want to be out of the truck completely. Physically, I'll probably need to be out of the truck by then. Um, but I want to have two teams of three guys each team, just running jobs all day. I would like to have a third team that specifically focuses on the gutting, deconstruction side of it. We do a lot of work with restoration businesses, contractors, just because bodies are so hard to find nowadays. Employees,
Right.
guys that will do manual labor, that that is so important for us to continue that line of business. Just with a good example with that is we work for a couple remodelers that, because they started using us to gut their projects, they're actually closing a couple more projects a month. So while it's a little bit more expensive up front for our service, they're able to close and finish a lot more work. So from a JDog side, that's, the three teams with that in 5 years would be absolutely incredible. I've been thinking about expanding out into Wayne County. Um, if you type in junk removal Wayne County, there are two dumpster companies. There is not a single junk removal company that is based out of there. We get a decent amount of work from there. Um, and Also, I would like to be working on hopefully a second business. I would love to start a restoration company down the
Okay.
road, something that takes care of flood, fire, mold damage. Because we're already doing the hard side of it with the tear outs during a flood and things like that. So why can't I go to school to be able to get my mold license, my fire license, things like that, to then be able to put the houses back together?
That makes complete sense. Now, when you were talking about, well, actually, I want to talk about branching off into getting two or three different teams. That's a lot to manage. As you
Yes.
scale, complexity becomes, it just grows. Complexity, it becomes more complex. So, do you find your military background helping you at all in managing your business? Having a structure and influencing your people to get the work done, and also just join the team because you said hiring is a difficult part.
I like to think that, well, so let's talk about hiring. I like to just, before I did the electronics sales, I was a manager in and out of retail for Best Buy for about 4 or 5 years. And I like to think that I treated my guys very well. So a guy that works for me has worked for me for the past 5 years. I've only been open for 15 months here, but he worked for me at other businesses. He's like, "Oh, you're starting something? All right, I'm coming with you." Um, so I like to think I have a book of guys that if I called and go, "Hey, I got full-time work for you. As long as I can match the pay that you're doing now, would you come work for me?" I think 99% of them would go, "Yeah." Um, I have a guy that I want to bring in down the road. I just can't commit to him completely right now because I can't guarantee his hours. He has a family, he has kids. Um, so until I can commit to him those full amount of time and hours, that's the guy that I want to bring in to kind of take some workload off of me. From whether it being he helps me get out of the truck and I slowly teach him how to manage and things like that. Then from military end of it, I like to think that I am very good at remembering the 800 things that are going on at one time. Now, I have a scheduler. My scheduler that I use is very awesome when it comes to breaking down the jobs, timing, what's happening at the jobs. And but I also want to say that I have incredible employees that are attentive to me when I talk, that listen when I'm explaining how we need to do things, follow instruction very well. Um, couldn't be as efficient as we are with certain things without them. So I'm very lucky on that end.
When you were talking about expanding out into Wayne County and
Yep.
they only having two removal companies, let's say there was a Jdog there as well. Would
Mhm.
you be able to expand into there, or is there like a rule against that?
So the way that Jdog sells you an area, they sell you a territory. They have three grades of territories. They have a territory 1, territory 2, territory 3, and they're based off of population density of zones. So like Stark County is a tier 1 territory. It has to be over 60,000 people, which it's well over that. Um, so Wayne County is an open gray area. So because I am the closest franchise to there, when they call into the corporate line, it's really easy. You call 844 get JDog. The automated system says, please type in your 5-digit zip code. We'll route you to the nearest owner. So that all of that comes to me already, but I'd love to be able to just start marketing as an area out there, just with all
Yeah.
like the farmland, the barns, the big amount of rental property, trailer park type of things. Like we get consistently good work out there when the calls do come in.
Yeah, so go into that a little bit more about what you look for when you are thinking of potentially expanding. Like what kind of real estate essentially are you looking at?
I am, well, it depends. So that's a little bit different out there than it is in Stark County or Summit County. It's a lot wider of an area. It would be a lot more driving, but you have these giant, I guess you could say, just buildings everywhere throughout Wayne County that have been used as storage, that have been used as barns. That when a job comes in out there, it's normally a full day job, whether it's us doing a couple trailers or coming back the next day to get our third. Um, that the trying to think how to say it. Overall, out there, it has enough of a population density as well as the high uptick potential for larger jobs. Um, so it just has a whole lot of I guess you could say potential. This is a good way
Gotcha.
to put it. And what people do out there is Wayne County is a very do-it-yourself kind of area. Um, so like renting dumpsters is huge out there, and we have considered getting into that line of business as well. Just getting one vehicle that can drop 3 or 4 dumpsters a day, things like that. But people are really starting. Time is so important to the average American, so much more than it used to be, that us coming out there and doing it over the course of 2 hours compared to them spending 3 of their nights in a row doing it,
Exactly.
I think is worth the extra money that you would pay.
Yeah, I completely agree. We're all about convenience. We live in
Right?
the era of convenience. So, off-topic question, but this is a
Okay.
question that I've asked all my guests, and that is network, money, or fame. Which would you pick and why?
I would probably say networking, because that is like, you think of it in like a hierarchy. The more networked you are, the better your networking is. Just grows the other two.
Right.
Now, I'm not one like fame's not a big thing for me. Like, I don't even go by my name anymore at most networking meetings. It's just like, "Hey, Jdog," and I'm like, "What's up?" I'm pretty sure like 50% of the people that I network with don't even know my name. They're just like, "This is the Jdog guy. He's great." Um, so I think that's a huge thing for networking, just being known as your business. But I would 100%, now that I'm thinking about it, I would 100% put networking as the most important of the three.
That's been that's the unanimous answer right there from everybody so far. And it makes sense. I mean, it's so obvious why you would choose networking over money or fame. Although the other two do have their benefits
They
as well.
completely do.
Now, the last question I have for you here is: what advice would you give to a young entrepreneur looking to maybe, I don't know, getting into junk removal or any business? What advice would you give to them?
I think my biggest, so I started during COVID. So my biggest issue was I was patient for so long, and all of a sudden a vehicle came available. I operate with truck and trailer now, but I signed a lease for a essentially a small dump truck, as I like to call it. It's essentially, imagine a U-Haul, but the U-Haul section is a dump trailer that's built on. Um, I kind of pulled the gun on that because I just wanted to get open and get going, and it turned out to just be not the right route for us. So instead of signing a lease for that guy, I got out of the lease of it. I was able to get another Jdog, take it off my hands. But then I just bought a truck and trailer outright, completely annihilated all of the business loan that I had as like a cushion. And I don't think that when I had been looking at the market, I did not go, "Oh, I wonder how many other competitors I'm gonna have." I know there's 1-800 Got Junk, there's Junk Luggers, there's the big 3, and I'm like, "Oh, there are also 26 other mom and pops that I'm gonna be competing with as well in all of these local groups and everything." So that was something that I completely missed when I was looking at Stark County. So being aware of not only just your demographics, but your local competitors as well, because every small business, you're going to know 9 out of 10 of them are going to do a great job. They care about it. They're
Right.
going to do local work as well. You're not just going to walk in and go, "Hey, I'm a really nice guy, give me some business." So that was something that I definitely overlooked when I first opened.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, great advice. Great advice. So, where can people find you if they're you're in Stark County, correct?
Correct.
If people wanted to reach out to you and have them, have you guys come out and remove some junk, how would they get a hold of you?
So I have my Facebook and my Google page, JDog Junk Removal and Hauling Canton. We have a corporate number, 844 Get JDog. We also have my personal work line, 330-524-5364. That just goes right to me. I pick that up. I respond to text messages, all that fun stuff. If they're looking to see, just I love posting before and afters on the Facebook page, so you can just like see what we look like, see what my guys look like, see the work that we do, see, and I honestly have so much fun with my Facebook page. Like I love before and after shots. I just posted a really good one this last couple days where we cleaned out an attic that had about 4 to 5 inches of clothes across the entire floor, and then once they were all gone, it just looked like a space is ready to rent out kind of thing again.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on today and speaking with me.
Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.